After spending 10 years in the hell of the game, he traveled back in time, retaining all the abilities and combat experience he gained, determined to seek revenge. How will he achieve this, and what obstacles will he face? That is what we will find out in our story. The story begins with a tragic scene of a girl named Sua tied to an electric chair, her body trembling from the severity of the shock, as she thought it was just a game. And while Woo Hyun screams her name, helpless to assist her, she tells him weakly that she can no longer endure. The girl apologizes with sorrow. He was convincing himself that this was merely a realistic game and he would exit it soon. So he reaches his hand out to her eagerly, screaming in refusal of what is happening. But another bound person tells him that he realizes his end has come. He advises him on the necessity of survival before passing away, amidst his agonized screams. As time passes, he is forced to accept the reality, continuing to beg his companions not to leave him behind alone, while he screams while bound, and tears flow from his damaged eye, certain that this place has become his new reality. The memory goes back to explain the context of events, where the VR game Inverse Planet topped global charts, and became famous for concepts of dimensional gates, superpowers, and wars. Woo Hyun entered the game based on a friend's advice, only to find himself suddenly trapped inside it, where the game world materialized to become a physical reality. He, who is referred to as Test Subject 62, receives sarcastic congratulations for approaching the Ascension stage. Within a mad research project called the Ascension Project that consumed thousands to create a single ascendant, the project relied on using abductees as test subjects and practiced inhumane experiments on them, including electrocution, forced injection, and body modification. The officials issue an order to burn the girl's body and lock him with the survivors, and the guards respond to the order. He sits in the darkness of his cell, drowning in pain, considering what happened an unforgivable crime, and makes a solemn vow to himself to stay alive for revenge. Suddenly, an alarm goes off announcing the escape of a test subject, alerting the armed guards. So he runs with a group of survivors in the hallway towards the exit located at its end, driven by the hope of survival once they cross this corridor. Their path is blocked by a huge enemy with red hair who mocks their arrival at this place by crawling, threatening them that this hallway will turn into a grave for them. He curses their bad luck, so his companions decide to confront the enemy and ask him to watch their backs. The enemy describes them as fools, vowing to exterminate them all, then pounces brutally, crushing the attackers. But after a long fight, he is finally able to kill the enemy. He catches his breath with difficulty amidst the corpses, muttering the word, again, as the echo of his name resonates in his ears, and soon hallucinations begin attacking him in the form of black shadows of people begging for help, and their distorted screams overlap in a nightmarish scene. The text narrates the passing of a very long time, year after year, since the hero's escape from the lab, where he appears attacking armed guards who scream at him not to approach, declaring that he is doing this to avenge his loved ones. He continues to slaughter his enemies brutally, admitting that he killed them over and over again, and appears in one scene plunging his weapon into someone's neck. Sensing that this revenge has no end, the shadow hands close in on him, so he wonders in despair how long he will continue living this way, and if he must continue like this until death. And suddenly a notification sound and a blue system window appear, sparking his surprise. The window displays a special mission titled Fixing the Error, requiring the elimination of the supervisor of the Ascension Project in exchange for returning to his original world, so he feels hope because the chance has finally come to get out. The scene shifts to a luxurious room filled with corpses, where a man in a formal suit crawls asking for the reason, and denounces the attack on him at a time when nothing remained but to enjoy the glory. The supervisor, who was identified as the one responsible for the project, screams, but Kim Young-jun, Test Subject 81, grabs him by his collar, so he asks the supervisor why he acts like this. The supervisor screams, asking Kim to be silent and not speak to those of his status, then calls out to Woo Hyun by name, where he is identified as Test Subject number 62 and nicknamed the Superhuman. The supervisor praises him, describing him as the ultimate success of the project and that he surpassed human limits. He offers to grant him any wish he wants because he is on a different level than the others, but he interrupts him with a categorical refusal. The terrified supervisor tries to deter him, calling him a fool and warning that killing him won't end the matter, threatening that the corporate alliance will destroy his family, friends, and colleagues if he is harmed. He deals a fatal blow to the supervisor, who groans in pain. Kim describes him as a devil and complains that blood covers the place. He stands coldly, while Kim yells at him, saying he killed them before he could ask, while looking at a screen in front of him. A mission completion message appears, and the reward is ready to return to the original world, so he rejoices in his freedom. And while he is about to press the accept button, voices stop him asking where he is going, and the voices remind him of the others he left behind and if he forgot them. demanding him to take revenge and kill them all. He feels extreme exhaustion, wondering if what he did was enough, and despite his hesitation, he decides to seize what might be his first and last chance to leave. He tells his companion that he is returning to his original world now, which confuses the companion who thinks he is delirious, confirming that he was here from the beginning. He makes up his mind and presses the approval option, asking his companion to inform the others and apologizing to him before his departure. He wakes up terrified in his bed, and immediately realizes he is in his private room. He inspects his body, disbelieving his return, wondering about the time that has elapsed. He grabs his phone to find the date, May 19th, 2041, and the time is 5 a.m., discovering that he returned to the same day he was pulled into the game, wondering if time never passed there at all. He stands in front of the mirror to find that all his scars and muscles have disappeared, as if what he lived was just a dream. Memories of his fighting in the other world attack him, and the pleas of the girl who begged for survival, and the enemy's threats to destroy his family and friends. So he becomes certain that the matter was not a dream. He confirms to himself that the 10 years he spent there were real due to the intensity of their clarity. Then the phone ringing cuts his thought process. He sees the name Jong Nayeon on the screen and feels the name is familiar. As soon as he answers, the caller scolds him for not calling and reminds him of their promise. And when he inquires about the promise, she tells him of the necessity to meet tonight and sends him the coordinates before hanging up. He holds the phone, realizing he remembers this voice well, for she is his close classmate and the person who introduced him to the game Inverse Planet. So he suspects for a moment that she arranged the matter but rules it out based on his memory. He decides to meet her first, and when he arrives, Nayeon welcomes him warmly, noting his long absence. She asks him if this is the first time he's gone out since the semester ended and offers him a drink, but he refuses, justifying it to himself that he fears what he might do if he drank in his current state. She asks him while grilling food if he tried the game as he said previously. So he answers that he designed a character and watched the intro only before being pulled inside, which sparks her surprise. She laughs sarcastically that this way he didn't play at all. Anger boils inside him, remembering the 10 years of hell he lived because of her recommendation, and he clenches his fist tightly, while she reminds him that he promised to appear in her livestream regularly, pointing to his physique that would have caused a stir on her channel. He realizes then that she insisted on him playing only for the sake of her channel as a streamer, and although he doubts he really promised her that, he feels that this meeting made his return to reality seem like a tangible truth. He sits in front of his computer searching for the game developer, finding that the company is called Planet Earth and is based in Silicon Valley in the US. He realizes with sorrow that going to the headquarters won't change anything, for if he tells them about his fall into another world because of their game, they will accuse him of madness without a doubt. He hesitates to contact the game, fearing unknown dangers and unexpected results, and sighs in front of his screen, wondering about the point of what he is doing instead of rejoicing in surviving that hell. He decides to settle for that and forget the other world, confirming to himself that this is his original and real world. Someone pats him on the shoulder jokingly, as he tried after his return to engage in a normal school life. His friend invites him to go to the bar, so he tries to go along with the atmosphere and get past what he went through. But doubts plague him about the reality of his return, while one of the ghosts of his past embraces him, and the ghost asks if this is really reality, so he turns behind him quickly to see who spoke in his thoughts. As time passes, things start to deviate from their normal course disturbingly, where hallucinations chase him with voices demanding cruel revenge and reminding him that he doesn't belong in this quiet place. Suddenly, he hits the table violently in the middle of the hall, sparking the panic of those around and their astonishment at his unjustified behavior. Woo-hyun stands in the hallway panting heavily when one of his colleagues calls him by name and grabs his shoulder, asking about his condition with concern, but he sees him in that moment as an enemy attacking him. He imagines as if he is drawing a dagger and attacks his friend with it, ready to stab and defend himself, but stops when the colleague asks him in terror what he is doing, so he apologizes, justifying it that he was startled. His colleague tells him that people are talking about his strange behavior lately with caution. He sits alone on a bench while one of the ghosts of his past calls him, and shadows wrap around him, demanding him not to forget and to take revenge, while he begs them to stop and leave him alone. Nayeon screams his name to wake him from his daze and nightmares, and asks him anxiously about the reason for his pale face and constant distraction. He smiles, feigning calmness, and tells her he is fine and there is no need to worry. So she offers him help as a big sister if anything happens, and he accepts that from her. She decides to leave, and while she encourages him, he realizes deep down that he is the one who brought those ghosts with him to this world. He becomes certain that the matter won't end until those spirits feel satisfied, and that if the situation continues like this world won't differ from the other hell he escaped from. He decides to return to end the matter, mainly this time, and enter the capsule, determined to put a decisive end to everything. He logs into the game for the welcome message to Inverse Planet to appear, and finds himself in a familiar place. He realizes with astonishment that he returned to the waiting room in the lab and that he has entered the game world again. He wonders in confusion why he couldn't return to that hellish world despite his firm resolve to do so, thinking about the possibility of another condition he didn't meet. A window appears asking to confirm the character's appearance, so he decides to proceed with the game's tutorial stage for the time being, believing that might be his way to return to the other world once it's finished. He starts by adjusting settings first, changing the combat assist ratio to 0%, reasoning that he was fighting with high efficiency in the other world without any help. The system begins preparing initial abilities, asking him to choose the first primary ability element with a note about the possibility of resetting abilities at any time. The system explains that the ability mechanism in Inverse Planet is designed to strengthen the character by choosing a base element and then enhancing it with various sub-elements. This integrated structure from base to branches is called a build, and due to the sheer number of available elements, there are people in professional leagues who dedicate themselves to studying these builds only. He chooses the specific element that earned him the title, the Superhuman, previously from among all options. Someone addresses him, via loudspeakers, as Test Subject 48, explaining that he woke up in the last experiment and that a week has passed. He realizes that the game doesn't show the torture process that precedes waking up, acknowledging that no one would want to experience that inside a game. The system announces the start of the next experiment immediately and orders him to enter. Etenel appears before him, a killing machine designed to stop the rampage of the Awakened in the Ascension Project, and was the cause of taking the lives of countless test subjects. The first tutorial mission begins asking him to defeat the Etenel using his embodied ability, noticing he is facing a prototype of the machine. A painful memory raids him of someone begging him, calling him Brother Wu Hyun, asking for salvation while the machine kills him. A red light flashes from the machine's eye, then it starts rushing towards him. He mutters that the situation here is exactly like it was there. He expresses his disgust at the researchers who always do disgusting acts. He engages with the machine, dodging its attack, and the machine directs consecutive attacks towards him, but he avoids them easily, then deals it a strong blow. He points out that the final version of this machine is deceptive because it can use abilities, but he confirms that what he faces now is nothing but a prototype. He destroys the machine completely, and the game announces the completion of the experiment. The lab praises Test Subject 48, describing him as amazing, and that his efficiency and abilities is incomparable to normal test subjects. A message appears for the successful completion of the first tutorial mission, and while the system is about to start the next experiment, chaos suddenly pervades the place due to intruders from the government breaking in, sparking the panic of researchers who wonder how they reached this depth. The scream of a researcher is heard, and a message is broadcasted directed to all victims detained unjustly in the lab. The voice asks the victims to use their full power to get out immediately, so he recognizes the owner of the voice. The second tutorial mission begins aiming to escape from the lab to the outside, so he decides to leave first. He runs quickly, wondering about the number of explosions he heard. He reaches a completely destroyed hallway filled with debris, where he glimpses something amidst the chaos. He listens to a voice coming from a communication device telling him that the Interdimensional Administration Office sign indicates he is not an enemy, but a victim. The speaker deduces that his arrival at this place means his intention to escape, so he offers him help. The speaker tells him he can choose any weapon he wants from the room. Then he gives him a device to send a signal once he reaches the outside so the office can extract him. He looks at the wireless device and weapons, wondering if the speaker has died, while appearing in a gloomy scene. He realizes while holding an iron crowbar that this is just a cinematic scene necessary for the game's events to progress. Despite that, a feeling of filth possesses him from this situation. The scene shifts to Kang Soil, a professional gaming content creator, sighing in distress because her pride as a perfectionist lover is hurt by having to play the famous game Inverse Planet. Followers in the live chat mock her grumbling, reminding her that this is a punishment they decided themselves. Soil confirms she is a woman who always keeps her promises to her followers, and despite followers accusing her of lying previously regarding game selection, she announces with a fake smile the start of executing the punishment which is undergoing the game experience. She creates the character and chooses the fire ability because it looks cool, without changing the default appearance. Upon reaching combat assistance settings, the system indicates that the default ratio is 50% to help with movement and correcting postures. Followers challenge her to set the ratio to 0% and mock her fear, so a mission message appears offering a reward of 500,000 won for finishing the tutorial stage without assistance. She realizes that the percentage of players who play without assistance is nearly 0%. Although confident in her skills, she hesitates at first, considering the idea bad as if controlling with a third arm. She tries to evade the challenge, but the financial reward value tempts her. She agrees immediately with money shining in her eyes, sparking followers' sarcasm at her quick change of stance for money. She announces enthusiastically that she will play without assistance until finishing training. Followers express their concern and doubts about her ability to do so. They remind her that she was killed previously in 2 minutes by Etanel immediately upon starting, and she complains that the game throws the player into a fight without explanation. Followers admit that lasting 2 minutes is good, but fighting that machine with one ability and without assistance is almost impossible. Inside the game, she thinks she just has to escape after obtaining a radio and a weapon. She is surprised by the start of automatic search for a team for the Escape the Lab mission, which requires 4 players. She hopes to be carried, helped, by team members to pass the mission, but followers mock her. Team search fails, so the system begins an expanded search. Followers explain that matching is done only with players having the same assistance ratio, meaning her partners will be lunatics, playing without assistance like her. She realizes her predicament and thinks about canceling the mission, fearing she will have to carry the team. Matching succeeds suddenly, and she joins a mission already in progress despite her desperate attempts to cancel. She screams that she is finished, to find herself suddenly in the place. She stands astounded in the hallway watching the debris of destroyed robots and sparks flying from them, wondering what happened. A state of astonishment dominates her and her followers, as everyone refuses to believe what is happening, considering the matter goes beyond joking, and they question seriously if this is real and that there is a player undergoing the tutorial stage without any assistance, doubting he is a professional using an alternate account because no professional can do that in this way. Followers notice with astonishment that he managed to eliminate a large number of Etanel machines without assistance and without using any firearms. She realizes she found the perfect carry, someone who will protect the team and lead it to win, so she decides to go search for him immediately. Woo Hyun appears in the middle of the dark hallway with blood dripping from his weapon and body. Soil approaches him with extreme caution, trying to get his attention. He turns to her, suddenly attacking her, thinking she is an enemy, so she screams, begging to save her life. He stops at the last moment, apologizing for his mistake after realizing she is not an enemy, while she notices his profuse bleeding. He intends to leave, so she asks him shyly to accompany him since they are on the same team. She runs after him, introducing herself as a content creator, streamer, and asks his permission to appear in her live broadcast. She reassures him that privacy mode is active and his face will be hidden, but he stops suddenly, sparking her concern. Suddenly, sirens blare, announcing the escape of a test subject and orders issued to kill him immediately and no need to capture him alive. Soil is terrified, asking about the reason for the tutorial stage difficulty rising like this. She looks at him as she considers him the team leader and asks if he is okay. He appears swinging a metal chain skillfully. He pounces on the guards and gunmen and slaughters them, amidst the amazement of followers who give him the title, Genie of the Sickle and Chain. Soil watches the scene from her hiding place, disbelieving what she sees, and followers agree with her, wondering how a weapon like this can be used without system assistance. Followers begin analyzing his ability after noticing his eye color changing to white, guessing it might be wind or telekinesis. One of them deduces that the only base element that boosts physical stats and changes eye color is Absolute Entity. Followers mock this choice because it is considered a trash ability that prevents the player from using any other abilities, surprised by his choosing of it. It is explained that the Absolute Entity ability is one of the various base abilities in the game, as it increases physical stats and resistance to skills enormously, but its tax is preventing the player themselves from using abilities. The game community confirms that this ability must be avoided completely and advises leaving the team that includes a player possessing it. Soil is surprised by choosing an ability that prevents abilities in a game relying on them, while followers question the possibility of fighting without it, pointing out that white eyes confirm using it. Some suggest that physical enhancement might be useful in a fight without technical assistance, but they wonder in astonishment how he can move with this skill while still at level 1. Woo Hyun continues tearing his enemies with the chain and sickle. Amidst questions about his true identity, he stands over the corpses of his enemies while voices echo in his head, telling him that this is not enough. The voices incite him to be more violent in his revenge because they are not satisfied yet. And in the meantime, a sniper laser light appears aimed at his head. Soil screams, warning him of the imminent danger, responding by firing from her gun while cursing the difficult situation she found herself in. Her bullets hit the target, so the enemy falls amidst smoke and flying sparks. She sits on the ground to catch her breath, while followers in the live stream rain comments on her, some praising her cool nerves, and some accusing her of kill stealing, because she only intervenes to deal the finishing blow after Woo Hyun exhausts the enemies. She replies to them with a sly, indifferent smile, confirming she provided help in the end, and that is what's important. Woo Hyun remembers some events from his past life. Soil calls out to him while he stands in the middle of the battlefield. She gives him the title, Mr. Hard Carry, the strong savior, pointing to his decisive role in the battle, so he turns to her calmly. She asks him nervously if he is angry at her intervention, justifying it by her desire to help even a little, so he denies that briefly. He confirms to her that she helped him indeed, which sparks a wave of admiration in the comments for his kind personality and voice, and they praise his classy dealing with the kill stealer. Soil seizes the opportunity and asks him enthusiastically to allow her to accompany him to complete the tutorial stage, so he agrees to her request simply. He introduces himself saying his name is Baek Woo-hyun, so she realizes that Mr. Hard Carry was nothing but a nickname she gave him, and wonders to herself if this is his real name because it didn't undergo censorship. She asks him curiously if he chose the Absolute Entity ability as a base ability, so he answers in the affirmative, which strikes followers with astonishment, as they divide between those who see the necessity of re-evaluating the ability, and those who insist it is trash, and that what is happening is due to the player's super skill, not the ability itself. She asks him with fascination about how he dodged bullets without using any abilities and what games he used to play, so he answers briefly that he wasn't playing anything specific. He stops walking suddenly, and when she asks him for the reason, he tells her of the presence of 2 enemies of Etanel type 20 meters away. Soil marvels in secret at his ability to determine the distance and number of enemies accurately without possessing any detection skills, and suggests moving forward to confirm. Indeed, they find the enemies at the location he identified exactly, so she is struck with amazement at the accuracy of his senses. He rushes towards the enemies, regaining memories of his enjoyment playing Colosseum in the past, while Soil screams warning him against recklessness. He appears dodging the huge machine's attacks with amazing skill, remembering the days when he was deeply immersed in games. He deals a crushing blow to the enemy, revealing in his thoughts that he was a ranked player, ranker, in that game. He destroys the machine completely, so followers go crazy in the comments, praising his ability to defeat Etanel so easily and without any system corrections, concluding that this is the true level of Colosseum rankers. Soil asks ignorantly if being a ranker in Colosseum is a great thing. Followers mock her ignorance, explaining that rankers there received offers to become professionals and that the legendary professional player Butler was one of them. She screams in shock upon hearing the name Butler, realizing he is the most prominent player in the professional Inverse Planet arena. Followers wonder curiously if he faced Butler when he was a ranker and who would win in a confrontation between them, but he cuts these questions, ordering to move, so she follows him immediately. They reach the final mission gate of the tutorial stage, where the lab security chief appears as the stage boss, mocking their success in reaching this place. The boss with red hair and technological glasses threatens them that this place will become their grave. The boss adds in a threatening tone that they will join their dead comrades soon, so Woo-hyun realizes coldly that everything he faced so far was just part of the tutorial program. His look changes and his eyes ignite sharply, while black hallucinations return to appear around him, whispering phrases, "found you," and "faster," and inciting him to kill the boss immediately because his revenge is not complete yet. The boss screams, threatening them not to think about leaving the place alive, unaware of the hell awaiting him. Soil fires from her machine gun to provide cover for her colleague, but she is surprised by the appearance of an energy shield around the boss blocking bullets, wondering with astonishment about the reason for the existence of a particle barrier. Followers in the chat mock her ignorance, explaining that the security chief is an awakened, so it is natural for him to possess abilities like these as a boss, mocking her attempt to resolve the battle with bullets only. Despite that, she screams, calling him to tell him she will provide fire cover from her position, while followers comment sarcastically on the speed of her total reliance on him to save the situation. Woo-hyun dodges the huge boss's attacks skillfully, while the latter mocks, considering what is happening just a game. The boss attacks violently and red sparks fly, announcing his desire to tear his opponent to satisfy the ghosts of his past even a little. But the shield blocks the attack again, sparking the laughter of followers who wonder why the particle barrier activated even though he didn't shoot, guessing the existence of a technical error. The boss describes Woo-hyun as a little rat, and his skin turns into dark metal, so followers recognize immediately his special Iron Man skill. The boss strikes the ground with his fist, vowing to tear him apart, so the surface cracks as he rushes towards him, making followers guess that his weight became a ton at least, and that one blow from him means certain death. The boss asks angrily how long he will continue dodging. Followers watch with astonishment his ability to dodge every fatal blow. Woo-hyun directs a strong punch to the boss's face, so followers admit their inability to dodge those attacks even with system corrections, and mock the idea of providing fire cover for a player of this level. The boss groans from pain and orders him not to disable his iron skill. Ghost voices echo around him, telling him that the boss cannot die easily, and incite him to tear him to pieces more brutally in revenge for what happened to them. The boss is terrified seeing the immense power of the test subject in front of him, while Woo-hyun stands coldly. He deals the finishing blow, muttering that the credit goes to him. A system message appears announcing the defeat of the lab security chief. Soil stands stunned, disbelieving what she saw, while the chat explodes with praise describing the performance as insane, reminding everyone that this fight took place without any corrections, and noting that he seems accustomed to fighting humans. She announces happily the defeat of the training boss and asks if exiting is the remaining step, while Woo Hyun sits on the boss's corpse, and comments pour in confirming she was carried on his shoulders to win and wondering why a player with this skill exists at this time. The boss's body fades, and he confirms to Soil that they can leave now. The two exit the building for the game to announce the completion of the lab escape mission and his obtaining a skill point for leveling up, and she asks him if he will complete the main mission today. He apologizes, explaining he will stop here for today, so she asks him to wait a little because she has something for him. She announces to her followers the completion of training without corrections, so followers describe her as shameless for attributing the credit to herself, while she ends the stream saying goodbye to them. She thanks him for waiting, so he asks her what she wants. She asks him hesitantly to join her broadcasts regularly. He inquires about the nature of her broadcast, so she explains that she plays the main missions of Inverse Planet and sometimes engages in player versus player matches. She offers him eagerly to adjust her broadcast schedule according to his schedule, in addition to paying a huge sum of money in exchange for his appearance. He apologizes for the offer, so she realizes from his facial expressions that she won't be able to convince him and accepts his refusal. She asks him if she can add him as a friend, so he agrees to that. Then she bids him farewell, expressing her enjoyment playing with him and wishes him a good time before her character's body disappears. A message appears for Kang Soil, leaving and the tutorial program ending. He stands alone with blood covering his face, wondering in confusion and anxiety why he didn't return to the other side despite finishing the training. While he didn't realize what was happening, the game community was circulating theories about finishing the tutorial stage without corrections and without firearms being a product of using hacking programs. And in the meantime, an anonymous viewer carrying the number 62 sends a huge donation with a mysterious message asking about the feeling of returning to the real world, pointing to the future this gameplay will bring. In the early morning, inside the Korean branch of Planet Earth company developing the game Inverse Planet, employees face an unprecedented situation caused by a single user. Employees watch a replay of what happened in astonishment, disbelieving their eyes. Employees discuss how the player managed to smash the guard captain without any corrections or weapons, noting that the online community is completely convinced he is a hacker and are terrorizing the company's message boards demanding an explanation. One of them wonders seriously if they are sure there is no hack, so the others confirm that. The responsible employee confirms he checked everything starting from character creation and found no records of modifications by external programs. He points out he saw many hackers walking through walls or disappearing, but he never saw movements like these before. Employees conclude that this level of control cannot be imitated even using hacking programs, and that if it's not a hack, the player is completely crazy. Despite that, they acknowledge the existence of a very small probability of it being a hack not detected yet. The team decides in the end that they must conduct a proper verification of the matter. The scene shifts to Woo Hyun and his friend Naeon, where she tells him that the internet community is in a state of rampage because of him, and that the situation has become very chaotic. She tells him about the appearance of the no correction challenge among users, where everyone fails and can't even activate their powers, reinforcing the narrative saying he is a hacker. Naeon admits she was shocked when seeing the video, and that she recognized him immediately despite the privacy protection mode. She explains to him that she saw his fighting before, but she didn't expect him to be this skilled, confirming that anyone who doesn't know him will definitely think he is a hacker, deducing that this was the reason for his receiving that message. She inquires about the message, so he tells her he received a message from the Planet Earth branch in Korea. Naeon explains that the company wants to verify whether he uses hacking programs or not. He shows her the message that reached him via the live stream of streamer Kang Soil, which asks to communicate with him. She points out that the game company intervening itself to verify a hack will attract a huge crowd, and asks him if he will agree. He thinks about the matter, considering this his only chance to communicate with developers and perhaps get a clue about the other world if a high-ranking person appears. He tells his friend he decided to do so despite his previous hesitation, so she praises his decision. She advises him on the necessity of clearing his name if he intends to continue playing so everyone doesn't call him a hacker, but he shows lack of interest, noting that no one will recognize him because his face didn't appear. Naeon argues that his fighting style is so unique that he will be known even if he changes his name, and that there is no one even among professionals who fights with strange skills like him. She explains to him that professionals have their identities revealed these days through their fighting habits, citing forum discussions that analyze players' movements precisely. She expresses her relief at his agreement, because otherwise the streamer would have been exposed to a lot of hate. He wonders about the reason for his interest in that, since that streamer has nothing to do with him. So she calls him a fool, explaining that the angry crowds from the hacking issue don't care about that. She adds that they will blame him at first, but soon they will direct their arrows towards the streamer. He understands the situation and mutters with resignation that in this case he will have to agree. Soil receives a message from him announcing his agreement, so she jumps for joy, disbelieving. She hopes this fuss leads to a massive increase in viewer numbers, and a graph appears showing an expected rise. She looks forward eagerly to seeing a historic scene that never happened before in the game Inverse Planet. She announces a live stream to clarify the truth of the controversy raised about his use of cheat programs. After 4 days pass, Woo Yun stands inside the game, wearing a new outfit in preparation for the broadcast. Soil welcomes him warmly upon their meeting. He notices in himself that she doesn't suspect him, although she saw his moves closely, and she admits that the evidence people provide is weak. She adds that she didn't suspect him because of his crazy killer looks that made the idea of cheating far from her mind, justifying it as just intuition, which he accepts silently. She tells him to start the broadcast if he is ready, so he agrees. She opens the broadcast, welcoming the large audience that waited long, while conflicting comments pour in between demanding clarification, accusing of cheating, and mocking. She is astounded by the number of viewers reaching 10,000 immediately upon starting, and introduces her guest, Woo Hyun, again. He introduces himself, so comments ignite with attack and mockery of him, and she is forced to threaten them with closing the chat if they don't adhere to politeness. She asks him for his opinion on the controversy before the actual verification starts. He answers coldly that he finds the matter ridiculous, which provokes commenters who mock his arrogance. A follower asks how to clarify, so she answers that they invited a special guest for verification. A man wearing a formal suit appears in the meeting arena. The man introduces himself as Park Gyum-hyun, leader of the first operations team in the Korea branch of Planet Earth Company, and carries the title GM above his head, which sparks followers' amazement and confirms the seriousness of the situation. Woo Hyun realizes this person is a high official and might know something about the other world, and decides to ask him after verification ends. The official thanks Soil and him for attending. The official notices in secret that he looks ordinary from the outside. The official asks them to head to the verification area. They reach a personal advanced training room, which he didn't see in the other world before. The official explains that verification will be done by monitoring several battles to ensure no external assistance. He agrees to the procedures. He gets ready to fight. A huge training robot appears, and followers recognize it as a medium version of Etanol, wondering if he is capable of defeating it with his current abilities. The battle type is chosen, Fight to the Death, against the medium robot, and Soil appears worried while he asks her to trust him. He laughs, mocking the situation, where they will fight to the death. The official is surprised when he sees that he has disappeared from his place. He rushed towards the robot and began smashing it to pieces while the official was trying to tell him the rules of engagement. Followers wonder in the chat with astonishment if he is crushing the medium-level Etanol with his bare hands now, pointing out that this robot is known for its toughness even against hammers, while others express their feeling of fear and pity for the robot from this violent scene. He appears tearing off the robot's head brutally, so a system message appears confirming no detection of external program interference, while the official mutters that he is a crazy person. The official confirms deep down that what he sees cannot be a hack in any way. He stomps his foot on the ground and announces finishing the test. Official Park announces they didn't detect any use of external programs in the previous battle, but points out that the verification window was too short for final judgment. Park asks him to fight according to a specific method they dictate to him, so he agrees immediately, while followers realize this procedure aims to ensure if he uses a hack for auto-fighting. It is explained that auto-fighting programs control the character via software and cannot fight in the precise style the user wants, so determining the winning method in advance and adhering to it proves the absence of hacking. The official thanks him and asks him this time to cut off the heads of 3 medium-level training robots using the chain sickle exclusively, so he shows his understanding of the mission. The official wonders in secret what is happening for hell's sake, believing this condition should be overwhelmingly unfavorable for the player. But he notices with astonishment that he doesn't show any feeling that he will lose at all. The battle launches with lightning speed. He uses the sickle with high skill. He stands amidst the debris after accomplishing the mission accurately. Soil cheers enthusiastically, confirming she wasn't imagining things previously, and points out to followers how the chain sickle was moving as if it were a living being, while followers wonder with astonishment at what they just watched. Some comment that the sickle looks like a broken, overpowered weapon, while others reply that the person is the broken one, not the weapon, especially since the chain sickle is usually used for close stabbing only. The official stands astounded by what he sees, while admitting that this level of control cannot be imitated even with hacks, and that if he is not a hacker, then he is completely crazy. The official's desire for knowledge escalates as a game manager, and he wonders if Wu Hyun is truly capable of defeating an advanced training robot possessing only one base element. The official decides to conduct a final test out of cognitive greed. A new huge and terrifying robot appears in the arena. Followers are shocked by bringing out that thing, considering the official crossed the line and wants bloodshed, noting that if he wins, he will be officially recognized as a human with hacker level by the National Council. The new robot is introduced as Advanced Training Robot, late version Ethel. He exchanges looks with the advanced robot. A scary smile appears on the robot Ethel's face, sparking his anger. The violent clash begins, where the robot directs a strong blow he dodges with difficulty. The battle continues intensely and he shows amazing dodging skills. He realizes this opponent is on a completely different level than the medium level and that taking one hit now would be fatal. He notices the robot's physical toughness lies in a completely different range and that his attacks don't affect it at all. He decides to continue hitting until one of his attacks succeeds. Followers express their fear and fascination simultaneously, noting that one blow is enough to kill him but he refuses to be hit, describing the matter as madness. The official admits he didn't think he was capable of confronting an advanced robot face-to-face with a single base element, pointing out he seemed like a loser at first. But he notices now that he started to overwhelm the robot slowly since moments ago. After smashing the robot with a crushing blow, the administrative official saw no point in continuing watching any further, and with the completion of collecting necessary data for verification, the training robot was withdrawn from the arena, which he realized immediately. Soil directed a question to the official about the verification results, for him to confirm in turn and decisively the absence of any external program intervention, explaining with a simple phrase that what happened is not electronic hacking, which sparked the madness of the game community who wondered how that could not be hacking, while others confirmed the charge is void basically after the administration's official statement, and the post accusing him of cheating was deleted. Soil addressed her followers in a victorious tone, reminding them she told them there was no cheating, and mocked the skeptics who now cannot refute the official's statement. And while trolls retreated, some noticed his excessive enthusiasm and gave him the nickname Physical Fitness Monster, who looks like a hack from excessive strength, a term that won his admiration. Amidst diverse chat classifications, Soil stressed to everyone to remember clearly that he doesn't cheat but possesses physical abilities that look like it, then asked for a final comment from her guests, where he described the experience as fun, while the official thanked her for her hard work. Soil ended the broadcast saying goodbye to her followers who exceeded 100,000, who divided between astonished at his thinking of farming resources at this stage, and those regretting the end of the broadcast that aimed only to clear his name, describing the episode as legendary. After the broadcast ended, Soil thanked both Wu Hyun and the official for accepting to appear, and singled him out with extra thanks, so he replied with a simple bow explaining the matter wasn't worth mentioning. The official smiled, mocking his description of the matter as simple, and intended to leave, but he stopped him suddenly, where he turned to him telling him there is something he wishes to ask him about, so the official showed willingness to answer. He asked him directly if he had encountered a type of technical errors, bug, in the game, specifically those cases that might prevent the player from exiting or escaping due to a glitch. The official denied hearing anything like that, implying that if a fatal error like this existed, the game wouldn't have become global, which he agreed with, understanding his answer. The official decided to leave finally this time, so Soil breathed a sigh of relief, expressing her comfort at this tense situation ending. She turned to Wu Hyun, praising his effort, and told him she would calculate the broadcast profits to contact him later, and despite his clarification of not needing money, he agreed to let her contact him. Soil felt inside that letting him go like this is a big loss for a golden content opportunity standing before her, but she hesitated to ask him to return to the broadcast again. She backed down from saying what was on her mind, realizing she obtained permission for his appearance today only to clear his name, so she settled for saying goodbye and promised to contact him next time. Wu Hyun stood alone, feeling disappointed because he didn't get the information he expected about the other world, and in the meantime a message arrived from Jong Nayeon, asking him to meet her immediately in the combat preparation room after she learned of the broadcast ending. She received him with extreme enthusiasm, asking him about his experience in the broadcast, and telling him that the community reaction is explosive and crazy. He showed his dislike for the experience, explaining that the style of following chat and talking while playing doesn't suit him, which surprised Nayeon a little. She suggested an alternative solution, which is to imagine playing alone without paying attention to the chat, and offered to adjust all settings for him to try the matter once, but he refused that, due to his lack of desire to broadcast in the first place. Nayeon didn't give up and suggested he go to try player versus player, PvP now. It was explained that the PvP system is battles taking place between players, and forms one of the two main pillars of inverse planet content alongside player versus environment, PvE. He wondered if this was the reason for her summoning him, so she confirmed that denouncing his leaving without trying this system. He tried to evade justifying that by not planning to play for a while because he felt the game didn't suit him, especially with the unlikelihood of his returning to the other world. But Neon interrupted him, firmly confirming that PvP is the heart of the game and he shouldn't judge from just training. He thought about her words, realizing that the story mode, PvE, is exactly identical to the other world he lived in, while PvP is full of things he didn't see before and might find something different in it. He agreed to the experiment, so Neon began explaining the types, starting with duels, which is a direct confrontation against an equal opponent, whether single or pair. Then she moved to explain the struggle mode, where players choose one of 4 modes: control, escort, capture, extermination, to fight in a team of 5 versus 5. And finally she explained the survival mode, where 100 players spread out to collect gear and fight until one person or winning team remains. Since it's his first time, Neon suggested they play in team mode and offered to recommend a suitable build for the character because PvP requires that, but he interrupted her, telling her the matter doesn't call for that. He explained to her that he already knows a build very well, which is the same build that made him the person known in the other world by the title, the Superhuman. While Wu Yun was preparing to log in, Neon told him she would record the session until he finished his preparations, so he agreed, confirming he would be ready immediately. The starting point was mandatorily selected as the military base in the first zone, an area famous for the wide spread of high-quality gear, but it is usually crowded with high-level players, making it unsuitable for beginners. Neon urgently asked him to allow her to record his gameplay in PvP mode to upload it to YouTube, and although he expressed his annoyance asking her to calm down, he allowed her to do so, wondering about the reason for her excessive enthusiasm. A system window appeared announcing 60 seconds remaining to start the game and confirming the selection of the military base, so he confirmed his login. Neon bid her partner farewell with a military salute, expressing her hope that they meet again while alive. As soon as he entered, he found himself in a lobby on the 3rd floor and found his first opponent in front of him. The opponent seemed to be looking around, complaining that the gear and resources in this place were very bad. The opponent decided he needed to move to another place, but Wu Hyun surprised him with an attack from behind, and in moments, the system announced the elimination of player Lucky Day by Baek Woo Hyun, which sparked the astonishment of Neon, who didn't expect an immediate kill at the start, noting that his physical build is completely different and looks like a hack. System notifications followed with crazy speed, announcing his elimination of a large number of players one after another. Neon watched what was happening with astonishment, wondering what in heaven's name he was doing. He appeared eliminating a player named Slime Monster. He stood over his defeated opponent, noticing that he no longer felt the presence of other players, and wondered if this opponent was the last survivor in that area. He thought about the situation, admitting he didn't expect to encounter 4 people at once during his descent, and since he finished collecting resources, he decided he must get out of this place. Suddenly, a distress call reached him from Neon via voice chat, screaming for help and telling him she was completely surrounded by a large number of enemies. He checked the map to see her location and noticed she was in the opposite block, which is a place very far from his current location. He told her he was coming and asked for her exact location in the building, so she answered she was on the roof of the 3rd floor. She warned him that fighting on the lower floors is crazy, as battles seem to be raging on every floor, so he sufficed with replying in agreement. He jumped with tremendous speed only for one of the enemies to glimpse him shocked and stuttering from surprise. The enemy wondered in astonishment about the identity of this person and the reason for his great speed, while the other person asked his colleague to prepare his abilities because he would try to delay him somehow. He rushed with his weapon, engaging with the enemies. The second person screamed in amazement after Woo Hyun slaughtered his companion, and after that a notification of his elimination of the player appeared. The opponent analyzed his style, realizing he is of the physical type and relies on an agility build. The opponent attacked fiercely, screaming, "Die!" releasing a destructive dark energy towards him. Woo Hyun avoided the attack by jumping away. The opponent cursed him, calling him crazy, so he dealt him a finishing blow. He kept his calm and focus and continued running towards Neon's location, and system messages appeared announcing his elimination of Chest Eye, Baby Tyrannosaurus, and Buy Me Chicken. He announced his arrival in front of the building, so Neon marveled at the speed of his arrival and asked if she should come down to help, but he ordered her to wait in her place while he was reaching his hand to open the door. He stands behind the door, counting the number of steps coming towards him, guessing they belong to 4 people or maybe 5, and as soon as the door opened he appeared with cold features, for the lurking enemy to attempt attacking him immediately using a dagger. The enemy rushed screaming with killing intent, but he countered the attack with superior skill, grabbing his opponent's wrist, which sparked the shock of the attacker who didn't comprehend the reaction speed. A system message appeared announcing the elimination of player Hazar by Baek Woo-hyun, who stood over his defeated opponent realizing he must increase his speed a little to end the matter. System notifications followed with crazy speed announcing his elimination of a series of players with strange nicknames like Be Filial to Your Parents, Shrimp Meals, and Dental Care, which made his colleague wonder in astonishment and shock about how that happened with such repetitive speed. Nayeon realized he is crushing everyone completely alone, and suddenly, he appeared beside her without making any noise, so she was terrified to the point of screaming, and directed an attack towards him, which he managed to dodge, scolding him for scaring her in this sudden manner. She admitted to him she didn't notice his presence until he was right next to her, pointing out with astonishment that at this rate he might harvest 14 kills alone, while he wondered if his coming was necessary in the first place. He asked her if she had already cleared the building of enemies, then inquired with surprise about the chainsaw she was carrying, so she explained with an innocent smile that it was the only weapon she found nearby. She announced enthusiastically that she won't lose this game, and vowed that she would carry the team for the rest of the match, which he met with sarcasm and skepticism. The match ended to announce the result of the team winning first place out of 50 teams, where Woo-hyun achieved 25 kills, while Nayeon settled for 7 kills and 15 assists. She stood disbelieving that they achieved 10 consecutive victories and expressing her extreme exhaustion and desire to stop for the day, so he agreed with her opinion. She told herself she thought he was a normal university student, but it turned out he is a walking human weapon, and resolved to drag him into the world of live streaming whatever the cost. She asked him urgently to wait just 2 days before starting his main mission, promising him to present a suitable stream proposal by that time, and despite his attempt to clarify his lack of interest, and that he didn't plan for the main mission originally, she interrupted him, insisting he listen to her later, and left quickly. He remained alone, thinking that the player fighting experience didn't give him the clues he was looking for regarding the other world. Later, Soil lay in her room browsing the game community forum that ignited with talk about the hacking lord and the necessity of him going pro, and other comments praising the stream. She looked at the view count that exceeded 100,000, wondering if she would see a number like this again in her career. She wished she could continue streaming with him, and blamed herself for not holding on to him more. She recalled his categorical refusal to care about streaming, and tried to convince herself that his refusal wasn't that sharp, but she admitted in the end that he was very firm from the beginning. She decided to check the financial returns of the stream, to be shocked severely upon seeing the large amount that was collected. The next day, Nayeon summoned her colleague to a cafe, where he wondered about the reason for the sudden summons, for her to show him her laptop screen displaying a project titled Streamer Project, Baek Woo-hyun and Jong Nayeon. She explained to him enthusiastically that this is a presentation she stayed up all night preparing to convince him, but he commented sarcastically on the poor design, wondering if this was the quality of work that took a whole night. She reminded him of his previous condition that he had no objection as long as he would only play without interacting with viewers, and she asked him in turn if the matter would become acceptable if he didn't have to pay attention to the chat and just played, so he denied his explicit agreement, explaining he didn't say that was good but was just discussing the hypothesis. She proposed an alternative idea, which is using the reality observation format. She explained to him that this format resembles variety reality shows, where the staff sits in the studio to watch recorded footage of others and comment on it, and she concluded her presentation by suggesting he takes on the task of playing the game, while she takes on the task of interaction and commentary entirely. She continued her attempts to convince him of the stream project, suggesting hiring a professional commentator if he felt their presence alone wasn't enough, and even offered him a tempting deal of splitting the revenue 60 for him versus 40 for her, wondering if this offer was good enough, but he stuck to his categorical refusal, showing his lack of interest in the matter. She realized her colleague doesn't comprehend the value of streaming revenue, so she asked him if he checked the financial settlement streamer Soil sent him that day, for him to remember he received an email in the morning but didn't check it due to his hurried exit. He opened his phone to examine the message received from Kang Soil, which contained the first settlement amount of 6 million won, with an attached note about an interesting donation message that was also attached. Nayeon was astounded by the magnitude of the amount, denouncing how he could refuse streaming despite getting 6 million won, while his focus poured entirely on the attached message. He read the consecutive donation messages from a person calling himself Anonymous Viewer 62, who welcomed him and asked about his feeling on returning to reality, telling him that a new special mission had been prepared for him, and that he would watch his stream from now on. Woo-hyun realized immediately that this person knows he returned from the other side, and that using the number 62 in the username is an explicit reference to him as Test Subject 62. Anxiety and questioning dominated him regarding the identity of the person who knows his secret and return, so he asked Nayeon seriously if she could find out the donor's information, but she explained to him the impossibility of that due to privacy laws. She added that he cannot message the donor directly either, and that the only way to interact with him is during the live stream, and at that moment he made up his mind and decided to agree to do so. He announced his determination to stream, which sparked her enthusiasm as she asked him for confirmation and not to back down later. An official announcement was issued to the game audience stating that the Hacking Lord will appear in a personal stream titled Hack Tourism, with the participation of commentator Cha Seong-cheol and Jong Nayeon. And on the Golden Friday evening, everyone prepared to enjoy their time, as enthusiastic players gathered in front of their screens with one heart. The game community ignited with anticipation and questions about the commentator and her identity, while the countdown for the last 5 minutes before the stream began. And in the broadcast studio inside the Inverse Planet world, tension prevailed in the atmosphere before the launch. Nayeon expressed her extreme tension, while commentator Cha Seong-cheol tried to calm her down, confirming their preparations were comprehensive. Cha, an expert commentator in the game, admitted he was very nervous when he first received the participation offer, and he showed his surprise at her ability to book Woo Hyun for the stream, so she laughed nervously, recalling how he agreed immediately once she asked, without them knowing the real reason behind his quick agreement. The live stream launched announcing the start of the show, and Nayeon opened the episode by welcoming the audience, followed by Cha introducing himself. The chat buzzed with questions about Woo Hyun's whereabouts, demanding his appearance, so she reassured them that it was too early for disappointment. Woo Hyun appeared inside the game amidst the cheers of followers who confirmed it wasn't just a clickbait title, and Nayeon explained that the Hack Tour content would be in a variety observation system where they would comment and give their impressions while watching his gameplay, for which privacy protection mode was activated. She asked the audience if they were ready to start after stirring their curiosity about his playstyle. She sent the start signal to him, for him to receive an immediate message via wireless device from the Otherworld Management Office, asking him to save the survivors and leave the forest. The main mission details appeared, asking him to bypass the guards searching for the escaped test subject and join the office outside the forest, which he commented on as identical to the previous time. He remembered that in the other world he was only busy escaping, but this time he resolved to change that, and he screamed with a loud voice to attract enemies towards him. Enemies detected the sound of his scream, for their leader to scream immediately upon seeing him, ordering an attack on him from 3 different directions. He engaged with his attackers using his weapon skillfully to dodge their consecutive blows, and he threatened them in a sharp tone that they would all die, while he was swinging his weapon, causing widespread destruction. The guards fired a barrage of bullets towards him, but he managed to block and dodge it with fast and precise movements with his weapon. Screams of pain rose from one of the enemies after being hit. One of the guards described him as a fool for coming directly to them, while another screamed, ordering to kill him. He used his chain-connected weapon to grab enemies and pull them. He jumped in the air, utilizing his weapon to entrap his opponents, leading to them colliding with each other amidst their groans. He continued his brutal attack and threw his enemies to the ground forcefully, then falls on them from above, finishing them off completely, while one of the terrified survivors screamed, describing him as a damn insect and announcing his location. In the broadcast studio, Nayeon seemed shocked by what she saw, while commentator Cha commented that this style differs completely from the Inverse Planet game he knows, pointing out it is the first time he sees a gameplay style like this in his entire career. He added that gathering enemies in this way without any strategic consideration is strange, while followers commented in the chat sarcastically that the existence of the hack god itself is considered a strategy, and that laziness in searching for enemies makes bringing them to you the logical solution. A donation appeared from a viewer wondering if the absolute existence skill is exaggeratedly powerful, because it has no cooldown time. Nayeon posed the question to the expert commentator, who denied that categorically. Cha explained that most skills have cooldown times, and therefore Woo Hyun's build, which relies on base elements with no cooldown, might seem very strong. The commentator continued explaining that absolute existence only amplifies physical abilities and does not improve combat intelligence or weapon efficiency, reminding everyone that he plays without any system corrections. And he concluded his analysis that the impressive performance is due to him being the one using the ability, and that if he possessed these physical stats in reality, he would fight in the same way. The scene returned to the game where guards screamed about the necessity of surrounding the target. Suddenly, Kim Cheol, a team leader in the Otherworld Management Office, appeared, asking everyone to drop their weapons and surrender peacefully. The office was introduced as a government department responsible for suppressing invading entities crossing dimensional gates, and the text explained they work mainly on detaining and suppressing dangerous entities inside the inverted world, where dimensions overlap. Woo Hyun recognized Kim Cheol immediately, surprised to see him as a team leader in this place, and noticing his clothes. Kim realized he is a victim escaping from the lab, so he apologized for the rudeness and ordered his men to stand down, which Woo Hyun accepted calmly. The leader noticed the wireless device in his hand, so the latter told him he got it from an agent inside the lab. Kim concluded the agent had died, and Woo-hyun notes to himself that the leader still possesses the same kind heart he had in the other world. Kim asked him to stay at the management office until his identity is confirmed to avoid impersonation cases by lab affiliates, so he agreed, and the leader thanked him, promising to guide him. The game announced the completion of the main mission by joining the management office, and he obtained a new level and a strength point, and the office headquarters building appeared. He sat in a room resembling a consultation room inside the headquarters, disbelieving he ended up here. He recalled his memories after escaping the lab in the other world, where he accepted requests from corporations to raise money for revenge, including assassinations and kidnappings. But he pointed out that the bulk of his work consisted of suppression operations inside the inverted world. He recalled his memories from the other world, where corporations were sweeping the inverted world recklessly searching for loot, and when they found that loot useless, they dumped the cleaning mission on him, which inevitably led to his involvement with the Other World Management Office. He explained that his relationship with the office was complicated, as they cooperated sometimes in suppression operations, but in many other times they clashed and pointed their weapons at each other before a voice greeting him by name cut his train of thought. The speaker introduced herself as Lee Yujin, an agent from the first team of the Other World Management Office, while followers in the chat interacted enthusiastically with her appearance, praising her beauty, which ranks among the best in the game. She welcomed him with polite phrases, noting that he went through a lot of hardships to get here, which he met by recognizing her immediately. She offered him two choices for his future. The first is to live as a civilian under the office's protection, with a strict ban on using his powers, and the second is to join to become an agent in the Other World Management Office. And she explained to him that if he chooses the second option, he won't work as a fully authorized agent immediately, but will undergo proper training and will be deployed to the field only when they judge he is ready for that. He thought about the strange irony where he used to kill office agents in the other world, and now he became a potential colleague to them. She asked him for his final decision, so he began to answer, but the broadcast cut off suddenly, sparking the resentment of followers who demanded not stopping here. Deep down, he realized that choosing a civilian life would mean returning to work as a mercenary for corporations, as happened there, a path he doesn't wish to repeat. Also, his curiosity about the office's internal affairs was an additional motive. He announced his decision to join as an agent, so Yujin welcomed his decision, considering he would be a great help to them. She revealed to him that corporations are recently recruiting Awakened continuously, causing a staff shortage at the office. She whispered to him, advising that many regret signing with corporations, confirming she isn't saying that just because she is an office agent. She explained that corporations are still in their early stages in training Awakened and lack experience, and often don't take responsibility for accidents occurring during training, while the office is considered a long-standing organization. She explains the difference between the office's experience and corporate structures. She added that corporate salaries might be better, but working with them is more dangerous. Woo-hyun knows that, as many Awakened lost their lives while executing corporate contracts in the other world, and he remembered with bitterness that some companies didn't pay him his dues originally, which forced him to use extreme methods to force them to pay. He noted that those incidents are what revealed his identity as a semi-awakened to the office and put him under surveillance for a period, wondering if he met manager Kim at that time. Yujin started the procedures of registering his file as an Awakened in the system and handed him his work phone. He asked her about the next step, so she reiterated the probationary training period and assessment before promotion and team assignment. She expressed her hope for his joining her team, Team 1, if possible, which he wished sincerely too. He felt he still owed her, for thanks to her leading the lab raid in the other world, he and his colleagues managed to survive, despite the clashes that occurred between them later, so he decided to dedicate this to her and the victims. While they were exchanging friendly conversation about looking forward to working together, followers in the stream noticed something strange and wondered how NPCs could talk this naturally. Commentators pointed out that NPCs usually don't communicate in this correct and elaborate manner. Cha and Neon wondered about the available options, while she was shocked because the Lee Yujin character she met was completely different from what she sees now. Cha realized the shocking truth. It is fully responsive AI technology. This type of AI was defined as capable of responding completely to any situation or request and communicating freely, unlike traditional NPCs. He pointed out that this technology consumes massive resources and was thought impossible to apply in online games, wondering if they solved the resource problem. Cha disagreed with Nyan's opinion, believing it to be a hidden Easter egg, and that otherwise it wouldn't have been hidden like this, suggesting the existence of conditions to activate it. He assumed the minimum condition is starting with 0 enhancement ratio from the beginning, which is the main difference between a normal player and a pay-to-win player. Nayeon concluded the stream confirming that forums would explode with discussions, and Cha expressed his extreme enthusiasm and anticipation for the official announcement from the company to the point he wouldn't be able to sleep. In the broadcast room, Nayeon pointed out that a person deeply interested in the game's story would definitely find this situation interesting, hinting at the possibility of inviting a big guest in the future. Then she addressed commentator Cha, announcing with regret that the agreed-upon story progress for today ends here, inviting the audience to anticipate the next stream to complete it, and announcing the transition now to PvP content amidst audience objections. Woo Hyun appeared in the battle preparation room, while noticing that Anonymous Viewer 62 hadn't appeared yet. Earlier, he asked Nayeon to inform him immediately if this viewer sent any donation or comment, confirming he doesn't care about the current situation as much as he cares about that, so she agreed, and he decided to complete the stream given there was no contact from her. He sent a message stating his readiness, so she announced proceeding with the PvP segment. Cha noted that this is the first time the hacker player undergoes an official match, where starting will be from the normal league. The ranking system in Inverse Planet consisting of 8 ranks was reviewed, where one must win 10 matches in the normal league to reach the bronze rank. Cha explained that professional players need on average 30 minutes to achieve that, while normal players take 2 hours, making followers feel frustrated about their play level. Suddenly, a new mission message appeared asking Woo Hyun to reach bronze rank in 30 minutes in exchange for a financial reward of 500,000 won, sparking Nayeon's amazement. Nayeon messaged her colleague describing the mission as amazing and wondering if he could win 10 matches in half an hour, while followers wondered if accepting the challenge was confidence or arrogance, demanding haste. Excitement increased in the studio, and she invited everyone to watch until the end, while the narrator pointed out they didn't know what awaited them yet. The matching system succeeded in finding a normal solo match in Zone 6 residential district, and the first round will start within 10 seconds. Cha expressed his surprise when he saw him using a weapon he hadn't seen before, and he analyzed the situation wondering if this was a close-range build, noting the possibility of full control if he maintained distance. The first round began, and Cha wondered if the opponent had underestimated Woo Hyun, while the opponent started activating the ice explosion skill. Features of shock and terror appeared on the opponent's face, and the first round ended quickly with Woo Hyun winning 1-0. The next round started immediately, but the opponent surrendered as soon as he saw him describing him as another Smurf account, so he won the match. In the second match, Woo Hyun used his strange weapon, while the opponent screamed in shock when he found he blocked his shadow spear. The opponent's face appeared screaming in pain, and the second match ended with his victory over player Melon Bread with a score of 2-0. The third match launched against a player wearing a taekwondo uniform, and ended quickly with the death of opponent Hay-Eating Guinea Pig and his victory 2-0. The winning streak continued, as the record showed his victory in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th match with slight time differences and overwhelming results. Cha was shocked because it took Woo Hyun a very short time, as he achieved 10 consecutive victories in just 20 minutes, and was promoted to bronze rank. Nayeon expressed her extreme fascination, while followers felt the vast difference in level, describing the performance as insane and breaking professional records. Cha pointed out that the record time is unbelievable, but the most important and impressive thing is the match record itself. Cha explained that performance usually fluctuates if the match is unfavorable or dangerous, noting the difficulty of dealing with a fire build specifically. But Woo Hyun dealt with any build with perfect performance and without any fluctuation throughout the matches. A new donation of 500,000 won arrived from Pine Cone, so Nayeon thanked him, while Cha showed his curiosity and anxiety to see his performance in the upcoming ranked matches. Nayeon wondered about the reason for the difficulty of sniping in streaming, for Cha to explain that attempting to sync with a specific player's timing to enter the same match might be a very difficult matter given the nature of live streaming. Although the probability of success wasn't high, he hoped the matter was just unnecessary worry. Viewers described this talk as an omen of doom for what is coming. The system succeeded in finding a solo ranked match in Zone 11 Graveyard, and upon entry someone shouted announcing he found his target. The player with orange hair and glasses appeared describing Woo Hyun as the brazen bastard he finally met, declaring that the time to rehabilitate the hacker has come, sparking the shock of followers who wondered in astonishment how sniping happened in the first ranked match, while others pointed out this is usual behavior from these players even though they don't belong to the company. Cha indicated he wouldn't be dragged into these provocations, as he was previously advised to ignore such situations completely, and while Nayeon watched nervously, his opponent started the first round with a resounding scream and a massive energy explosion. The opponent rushed with all his might towards him, to end the fight with a single finishing blow. The opponent flew in the air screaming curses, while comments mocked his inability to land any blow despite his previous promises, wondering sarcastically who is being taught a lesson now after their expectations of watching a strong match failed. Woo Hyun directed his sweeping sword attack, making followers who trusted the opponent recalculate, and he expressed his regret for wasting his time watching this disappointing performance. The first round ended with his victory 1-0 over player Unknown, who called him a monster while bleeding. The system announced the start of the second round immediately within 10 seconds in the same graveyard arena. The opponent felt embarrassment and despair from losing again, so he decided to resort to using that trick as a last resort to avoid loss. The second round began amidst a charged atmosphere, where Woo Hyun noticed something strange in his opponent who was surrounded by an aura of energy. He felt the atmosphere surrounding the battle had changed noticeably. He assessed the situation, noticing the opponent's aura became sharper and heavier than before, and analyzed his movements, which became very effective and reminded him of the Edevel style. The opponent laughed insanely, announcing that Woo Hyun had finally realized it, claiming he went easy on him in the first round on purpose. He remembered then that this is what it means for the opponent to be a hacker or a provoker, regaining his memory about the situation, and summoned in his mind Naeun's advice, who asked him to crush them completely and crush their ego. The opponent noticed the atmosphere suddenly changed around him, but reassured himself because he possesses an overwhelming advantage that calls for no fear. The opponent screamed angrily, asking him not to pretend to be cool, while the latter was parrying his attack coldly. He launched a violent counterattack, making the opponent scream in pain and call him a bastard. Screams of pain rose from the opponent as he received blows. The opponent cursed his bad luck, falling to the ground. Everyone wondered in astonishment what was happening, while Naeun confirmed the correctness of what they were seeing. Commentator Cha noticed he was avoiding dealing the finishing blow on purpose despite having many opportunities, and she confirmed that the god of mechanics is executing her advice to the letter. She admitted nervously she asked him to crush him, but she didn't expect this brutal result, making followers nickname her the scary woman who made a monster, and wonder fearfully about the next advice she might offer. The defeated opponent sat on the ground cursing, wondering in terror about the identity of this person in front of him, while he stood over him coldly, pointing his sword towards him. He raises his sword, directing his speech to his terrified opponent, announcing he will return those words he said earlier, then swings the sword down to end it. The game announces the end of the second round with a sweeping victory for Baek Woo Hyun with a score of 2-0 over the unknown player to be crowned the final winner of the match. After that, he continued his winning streak with unstoppable momentum, achieving victory after victory in normal matches and duels, breaking the barrier of 30 consecutive wins in record time. In the commentary studio, Naeun was stunned by his reaching the gold rank already, while expressing her shock at his achieving a record of 30 consecutive wins in his first stream, which made followers hold their breath, wondering if this is what is called smurfing, and what he was eating to grow this strong. Followers in the chat urgently asked him to teach them his character's build, so she hesitated at first because most players mind revealing their secrets, but she decided to ask him. She messaged him shyly, asking about the possibility of revealing the build while emphasizing his freedom to refuse, but he agreed, simply saying, "Why not?" sparking her amazement and joy. She announced to viewers that the god of mechanics would reveal his build, and that she would organize and post it on the community board after the stream, sparking a wave of astonishment among followers who didn't believe a player with this confidence would reveal his sensitive secrets. With time running out, she and Cha bid the viewers farewell with a bow of thanks, announcing the end of the long stream. After cameras turned off, Cha described what happened as madness, pointing to the fully adaptive AI, the winning streak, and the build reveal, predicting community boards would ignite talking about them. She asked commentator Cha about the current record for the highest number of consecutive wins, so he explained to her the record is held by player Butler with 76 wins, achieved while leveling up his ult account. She wished Woo Hyun could break this record, confirming her confidence he is capable of that. Cha noted that Butler is known for his extreme competitiveness and might have already started watching the God of Mechanics. In the meantime, a post spread on the Inverse Time community revealing the truth of the player who tried to snipe Woo Hyun, explaining he was permanently banned for using unauthorized programs. Comments mocked the irony where the sniper pretended to teach the hacker a lesson while he was the real cheater, and pointed out with astonishment that he managed to crush him despite knowing he was using a hack, proving his super skills. Users commented he possesses a physical hack, natural skill, enabling him to defeat cheaters, and that even Butler wouldn't have been able to do that. Elsewhere, professional player Butler was watching what was happening via his screen and commented saying, "This is interesting." A few days passed and the second stream began, where Woo Hyun stood in a forest realizing anonymous viewer 62 didn't appear in the previous stream, and wondered to himself if he was still missing something. Lee Yujin appeared again, so comments exploded praising her beauty and advanced AI, describing her as deserving to be among the top 3 most popular NPCs. Yujin asked him if he was nervous about his first field mission, so he answered briefly, he was fine. A new mission window appeared asking him to wear the combat suit and head to the specified location, so he thought that a trainee agent getting a field mission immediately is good because it saves him from training thanks to being inside a game. He asked about the nature of the mission, so Yujin explained they must exterminate invading entities inside the inverted world completely and seal the place, noting reports of potential rampage by those entities. They arrived at an abandoned factory, where he noticed it was another site abandoned by corporations, and Yujin confirmed they leave these places implicitly because entities are sometimes useful. She sighed with sorrow, saying corporations stir up chaos then step aside when profit is absent, which he agreed with, realizing corporate actions are similar in both worlds. She explained that the invading entities this time are of the insect type, small in size and low danger, but their large number makes dealing with them annoying. Sergeant Park Ji-hoon received them at the gate performing a military salute, asking if they were awakened affiliated with the management office. Yujin confirmed that and thanked him for his hard work, so he allowed them to enter. Once they entered, Woo-hyun saw a huge neon gate in the middle of the abandoned factory and commented it was the first time he saw a gate appear in a place like this. He stared at the gate intently, noticing it looked familiar to him. He remembered seeing this place in the Hell world too, but he was sure the gate there was medium-sized, not small as it appears now. And as he was about to enter, he wondered if there was something wrong. Then another character appeared mocking with the phrase, "Oh my, look who's here." Choi Hyung-cheol, the awakened affiliated with Gumshin Electronics, appears asking with a sarcastic smile about the reason for Senior Agent Lee Yujin's presence in a small-scale extermination site like this. He approaches them claiming surprise at his mission site overlapping with hers. Yujin questions his talk, pointing out they abandoned this site previously and now claim it's a mission, accusing him of planning something, but he denies that claiming this accusation hurts his feelings. He turns towards Woo-hyun, asking if this is a rookie employee who joined the office recently, and directs his speech to him suggesting he join a corporation instead of suffering pointlessly in the management office. Yujin intervenes sharply, warning him against crossing lines any further. Choi raises his hand, surrendering feignedly, telling her he will concede this inverted world to her to take care of. He leaves the place wishing them good luck on their mission. Woo-hyun asks about that person's identity, so Yujin tells him while feeling low blood sugar that he was the first trainee agent she took charge of. She explains that after he was poached by a corporation and left, he started spreading malicious rumors about the management office. Then she offers him some candy. Commentators interact with this scene with astonishment, noting it is the first time the relationship details between Lee Yujin and Choi Hyung-cheol are revealed this clearly, as the matter was usually skipped. Cha comments that the fully adaptive AI offers a broader story, suggesting the probability of hidden stories existing in Planet Earth Company. Yujin suggests stopping the gloomy talks and going inside, so Woo-hyun agrees with her. Once they crossed the gate and disappeared, Choi appears watching their entry and commenting that they have entered, then wonders with a malicious smile if they should start the operation now. After 20 minutes pass, the scene shifts inside the inverted world. Woo-hyun appears wiping his mouth with his hand and standing over the remains of a battle. He recalls the moment they stood before the corridor leading to the inverted world before entering, where he noticed then that the place was exactly identical to the world on the other side. Suddenly, Yujin detected a glitch and called out to the rookie loudly and screamed, warning him to watch out, while she was being pushed away by a mysterious force. He found himself alone in the forest looking around, wondering if he had been separated from her. He considered corridor collapse due to external shocks a common occurrence, and decided to deal first with the spiders that started appearing before searching for her. He drew his dagger with his eyes shining in the dark, preparing to fight. Elsewhere, Yujin unleashed the Thunderspread skill to slaughter enemies surrounding her, but she noticed with annoyance that monsters kept pouring in endlessly no matter how many she killed, and she realized the forest size seems closer to a medium-scale inverted world, not small as they were told. She sighed with suspicion, confirming to herself there is something fishy happening. She hoped the rookie was okay, while Choi appeared behind her attacking with a fire spear. She turned in shock, screaming, "What?" seeing the treacherous attack coming towards her. Choi laughs sarcastically, sparking her shock as she wonders in astonishment about the reason for his presence in this place. And while his arm ignites with fire, he answers her with a sly smile, suggesting considering the matter just a secret mission. He rushes towards her attacking and tells her he is only following orders, asking her not to hold a big grudge against him. She describes his talk as nonsense, but realizes at the same time that her wound is very deep. She decides she needs to escape the place for the time being. She uses her abilities to create a defensive barrier, then causes an explosion to distract the enemy. Choi screams at his comrades, ordering them to chase her. Yujin creates a spear from her lightning skill and throws it in the direction of the pursuers. causing a thunderous explosion, giving her the chance to escape. Choi scolds his colleague, cursing him for failing to intercept her path. Soldiers scold each other for losing her trail, and their leader orders combing the forward area immediately. Yoo-jin hides inside a centipede burrow, telling herself were it not for this burrow she would be in big trouble, wondering, panting about the nature of the conspiracy the corporation is weaving. In the meantime, followers watch Woo-hyun slaughtering enemies with a single blow. Noting he already eliminated dozens of them, he suddenly feels Lee Yoo-jin's presence in the place and realizes something bad happened to her. He hears her voice clearly and sees traces of fighting. He launches with lightning speed, cutting through the forest. He finds a huge centipede insect wrapping around the helpless Yoo-jin, while followers in the chat wonder why she lost to mere insects and how he knew her location so accurately. He pounces with his weapon, cutting the monster. He holds Yoo-jin as she groans in pain. He lands with her on the ground, asking about her condition, so she recognizes him with difficulty. He analyzes the situation, realizing someone of her skill cannot be defeated by insects like these, and concludes her wounds are the result of a special ability. He confirms to himself that the awakened capable of doing this under these circumstances is only one person. He asks her directly if the perpetrator is Choi Hyung-cheol, so she answers in the affirmative. He realizes Choi followed them inside immediately after they crossed. In the studio, Naeon and commentator Cha show their extreme surprise, explaining that Choi usually sets his ambush much later in the corporation-related storyline, and that this happening now is strange and suspicious. They wonder if this change is the result of the fully adaptive AI effect, creating a hidden and exciting story. The camera returns to Yoo-jin, telling him she barely managed to mislead Choi, but she fears his return to set an ambush, adding that using her abilities will reveal her location. He asks her to hide for a moment until he treats her wounds and goes to take care of the matter, suggesting she escape first. She strongly rejects his suggestion to face Choi alone, explaining anxiously that he is a veteran awakened and a rookie like him cannot deal with him, but he reassures her calmly, saying things will be fine. He announces confidently he has a plan to deal with the situation, while she remains worried and skeptical of his ability to face this threat. Shortly after, enemy soldiers appear in the forest searching for Yoo-jin, where Choi wonders with annoyance about the place she hid in. He orders his men to search along the valley, judging she didn't go far due to her injury, and decides to go down to search for the target himself. He glimpses something moving fast in the dark, which catches his attention. He is surprised to see a person appear in front of him suddenly, and attacks him quickly, so this person screams, stuttering and demanding him to wait. He realizes the person in front of him is the rookie accompanying Yoo-jin, so he smiles maliciously, saying he has been saved by this easy target appearing. Woo-hyun pretends to be confused and afraid, claiming the corridor collapsed suddenly, leading to his separation from Lee Yoo-jin, and asks the leader with feigned innocence if he knows what happened. Followers in the chat comment with sarcasm and admiration on his amazing acting skills, predicting a tragic end for Choi, who fell for the trick. Choi exploits his apparent naivety and asks him in a condescending tone if he really doesn't know what's going on, then approaches him slowly, claiming he will explain to him what happened. He tells him in a veiled, threatening tone that he will be able to meet Yoo-jin soon after taking a short nap, hinting at his intention to kill him. And as he approaches to deal his treacherous blow, Woo-hyun, who was waiting for this exact moment to execute his plan, gets ready and directs a counterattack at him when Choi gets close to him.